Matt Lauer was once one of the most trusted faces on American television. For years, he was the host of NBC's Today Show, earning around $25 million a year. Every morning, millions tuned in to watch him deliver the news with a calm and polished presence. But behind the camera, his life was hiding a dark secret that would eventually destroy his career and reputation. In November 2017, everything changed overnight. A single complaint was filed against him, and within 24 hours he was fired from NBC and banned from ever returning. What followed shocked the world: reports of a secret button under his desk, multiple allegations of misconduct, and claims that stretched back decades. The man who once seemed untouchable suddenly lost everything, and his life would never be the same. Matt was born on December 30, 1957, in New York City. His family background was a unique mix. His father, J. Robert Lauer, was an executive at a bicycle company with Romanian Jewish roots, while his mother, Marilyn Lauer, had been a model and boutique owner. Growing up, Matt lived between two very different worlds. One shaped by discipline, immigrant values, and hard work, and the other built around image, fashion, and social presence. Both sides influenced him deeply. He learned how to carry himself in public, how to adapt to different environments, and how to present himself with confidence. Skills that would later make him a natural on live television. Performance ran in his family. His grandfather, Art Gentry, had been a professional singer during the golden age of music. He wasn't a huge star, but young Matt would often watch him perform. Seeing the way his grandfather connected with an audience left a strong impression. It taught him that being on stage or in front of people was about more than just speaking. It was about commanding attention and building trust. These lessons shaped Matt long before he ever studied journalism. In the late 1970s, Matt went to Ohio University to study communications. He was close to finishing his degree but decided to drop out in 1979, just 4 credits short, because he wanted to start working in television right away. At only 21 years old, he took a job as a news producer in Huntington, West Virginia. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave him real-world experience. He quickly moved from behind the scenes to being in front of the camera, and within a year he was already reporting live. At just 22, he was anchoring both the 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. newscasts. His calm and confident presence under pressure was rare for someone so young, and it helped him stand out. From 1980 to 1986, Matt worked as a co-host for PM magazine in different cities, including Richmond, Providence, and eventually New York City. The show mixed celebrity stories, lifestyle content, and local news. Each city required a different tone and approach, but Matt adapted quickly, proving that he could connect with any audience. His time in New York gave him his first big break in the country's largest media market. Then, in 1986, he got his first taste of national television when ABC launched Fame, Fortune, and Romance, a spin-off of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Matt co-hosted with Robin Leach, who was famous for showing off the extravagant lives of celebrities and billionaires. The show didn't last long, but it introduced Matt to a nationwide audience. He was no longer just a regional TV host. He was beginning to build a national presence. By the late 1980s, Matt was doing what very few people in television could pull off, working in multiple cities at once. Between 1987 and 1989, he juggled hosting gigs in Philadelphia and Boston, while also working for ESPN and HBO. This pace showed his dedication and ambition. He wasn't just looking for a career. He wanted to dominate the television industry. Matt Lauer's career kept gaining momentum through the late 1980s and early 1990s, even though the path wasn't smooth. He worked long hours covering everything from the Stanley Cup Finals for ESPN to entertainment segments for HBO. His schedule meant constant travel and very little sleep, and some people joked that he practically lived at the airport. But that hard work built his reputation as someone who could cover news, sports, and entertainment with the same professionalism and skill. Between 1989 and 1991, Lauer hosted 9 Broadcast Plaza, a live 3-hour daily program on WWOR-TV in New York. At first, it was another chance to showcase his talent, but soon the show's producers began chasing more controversial guests and outrageous storylines, reflecting the growing shock TV culture of the early 90s. Lauer often clashed with producers about the direction of the program, and he even refused to do certain on-air advertisements, like live reads for a dial-a-mattress sponsor, something unusual for a rising host still trying to make a name. His refusal to compromise led to tensions, and his time on the show ended abruptly. After his departure, guest hosts like Howard Stern and Weird Al Yankovic briefly filled in before the program eventually morphed into The Richard Bay Show, infamous for sensational stunts like lie detector tests and gimmick contests. By then, Lauer had already moved on. But success didn't immediately follow. By 1992, he was nearly broke, close to bouncing a rent check, and without a steady TV job. That's when WNBC TV gave him another chance. He was hired as co-anchor of Today in New York alongside Jane Hansen. It wasn't a prime slot, it aired early in the morning, but it was enough to get him back on track. Just a year later, he was promoted to co-anchor Live at 5, one of the station's major evening newscasts. For a time, he balanced both jobs, sometimes appearing on 3 NBC programs in a single day. His tireless work ethic and smooth on-air style impressed both viewers and NBC executives. By the mid-1990s, Lauer had become NBC's go-to fill-in anchor. Between 1992 and 1997, he covered everything. Weekend Today, NBC News at sunrise, and even NBC Nightly News when Tom Brokaw was away. His schedule was grueling, but he kept showing up prepared and professional. People inside NBC began to see him as one of the most reliable talents in the business. His big break came in January 1994 when he was named the full-time news anchor for the Today Show. At that time, Today was losing ground to Good Morning America. NBC needed fresh energy, and Lauer brought exactly that. He wasn't stiff like other anchors. He was approachable, warm, and made viewers feel comfortable. Within 3 years, ratings began to climb again. His ability to blend serious journalism with lighter celebrity interviews gave the program a balance that audiences loved. Meanwhile, there was still unfinished business from his past. Nearly 2 decades earlier, Lauer had dropped out of Ohio University just 4 credits short of his communications degree. In 1997, at the age of 39, he went back to complete it. The university's president not only invited him to finish his coursework, but also asked him to deliver the commencement speech. Instead of attending classes, Lauer wrote a paper connecting his professional television experience to his studies. That summer, he proudly walked across the stage with the class of 1997. For him, the moment was deeply personal, more meaningful than many of his career milestones. 2 years later, the university honored him with the Medal of Merit for his professional success and for inspiring others who had delayed finishing their education. By June 13, 1994, when Lauer officially joined the Today Show as news anchor, his career was on a steady climb. NBC executives quickly recognized his ability, and before long, he was trusted to fill in for major figures like Bryant Gumbel and Tom Brokaw. His popularity soared, and his Q score, a measure of how well-liked and recognizable a TV personality is, put him among NBC's most valuable assets. On-screen relationships played a huge role in his rise. Working alongside Bryant Gumbel wasn't always easy. Gumbel was known for being controlling and often dominated airtime. Lauer, younger by nearly a decade, didn't fight back directly. Instead, he used humor and charm to win viewers and colleagues. With Katie Couric, his partnership was much more natural. Their chemistry was obvious, filled with light teasing, jokes, and an easy back and forth that felt almost like a flirtation. Audiences loved it. Together, they made Today feel less like a rigid news broadcast and more like a friendly morning ritual. Still, Lauer showed he could shift gears when needed. His skill as a serious journalist was tested during major events, like the Oklahoma City bombing in April 1995. At that moment, Today couldn't lean on its usual light-hearted tone. It required calm, careful reporting under pressure, and Lauer proved he could deliver. Matt Lauer's role on Today during the mid-1990s showed viewers that he wasn't just a friendly face for light-hearted interviews. He could also handle serious, world-changing stories. He reported on the Oklahoma City bombing with calm authority, giving people a sense of steadiness during a national tragedy. He also covered the O.J. Simpson trial, balancing detailed reporting with an approachable style that worked for a morning audience. These moments helped build his reputation as someone viewers could rely on when the world felt uncertain. On January 6, 1997, Lauer was officially promoted to co-anchor of Today, taking over from Bryant Gumbel. It was a huge moment, and the pressure was intense. All eyes were on his first week in the role, but instead of stumbling, he thrived. Ratings soared, reaching the second highest in the show's history at that time. Audiences loved not just the stories, but also the chemistry he shared with Katie Couric. His mix of warmth, intelligence, and quick thinking helped him connect with guests and viewers alike, earning him the nickname, the hunk next door. Over the next 2 decades, he became the face of Today, interviewing presidents, celebrities, and everyday people caught in the middle of major events. Lauer wasn't limited to morning television. In 1997, he also became a contributing anchor for Dateline NBC, where he stayed for 20 years. This role let him step into investigative journalism, handling mysteries, cultural issues, and in-depth documentaries. He also hosted primetime specials, showing that he could move seamlessly between light-hearted morning TV and hard-hitting evening reports. Very few anchors managed that balance, but Lauer did. It made him seem versatile, trustworthy, and even more permanent in the media landscape. While his career was booming, his personal life was also moving quickly. In 1997, he met Dutch model Annette Rowe on a blind date. Just 5 months later, they married on October 3, 1998, in Bridgehampton, New York. Annette, known in the modeling world as Jade, was only 22 at the time and already had a successful career, working with brands like Victoria's Secret and J.Crew. Their whirlwind romance became a media sensation, pairing one of America's most visible TV personalities with a glamorous European model. The couple went on to have 3 children. Their son Jack was born in 2001, their daughter Romy in 2003, and their youngest, Tejas, in 2006. To the outside world, it looked like the perfect family. Lauer often spoke about how much he valued family dinners, school milestones, and quiet moments at home, presenting himself as both a devoted father and a dedicated professional. But behind the scenes, things were not as picture-perfect as they seemed. In 2006, while pregnant with their 3rd child, Annette filed for divorce. Her filing shocked the public because it painted a very different picture of Lauer than the one viewers saw on TV. She accused him of mental abuse, humiliation, controlling behavior, and extreme anger. It suggested their marriage had deep problems. The timing made it even more dramatic. They were expecting another baby, living in the Hamptons, and publicly projecting the image of a solid family. The divorce papers shattered that illusion. Yet, just weeks later, Annette withdrew the petition. The couple decided to try counseling and give their marriage another chance, partly for the sake of their children. To outsiders, it seemed like they had patched things up, and for the next decade, they appeared together at public events, supporting their kids and presenting a united front. But friends later said they often lived separate lives privately. Their reconciliation may have protected Lauer's public image, but it didn't erase the problems that had nearly ended their marriage. Then came the scandal that ended everything. In 2014, during the Winter Olympics in Sochi, Russia, Lauer was still one of the most trusted anchors in America, earning $20 million a year. But behind the scenes, NBC employee Brooke Nevels later reported that he had sexually assaulted her in his hotel room. She described it as rape, not a misunderstanding. Her account stayed private until Ronan Farrow's 2019 book Catch and Kill revealed the details. When NBC learned of the allegations in 2017, they moved quickly. On November 29, just 24 hours after receiving the complaint, Lauer was fired. The speed of the decision shocked the public. His co-hosts Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb found out only minutes before they had to announce it live on air. Overnight, one of the most recognizable faces on American television lost everything: his career, his reputation, and his place in the media world. When Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb announced Matt Lauer's firing live on air, their shock and sadness were clear. After more than 20 years as the face of Today, his career was gone in an instant. But what followed was even more devastating. Within just 24 hours of his dismissal, at least 3 more women came forward with their own accounts of harassment. Their stories revealed a troubling pattern that stretched back years. Some said they had tried to report him in the past but were ignored. Others admitted they stayed silent out of fear, knowing Lauer's power at NBC made him untouchable. As more details came out, the scope of the problem grew darker. Variety published a major investigation after speaking with dozens of current and former NBC employees. They reported that Lauer had a hidden button under his desk, allowing him to lock his office door without getting up. NBC defended it as a standard security feature, but several women said he used it to trap them. Former colleagues also revealed disturbing stories. Lauer allegedly gave women sex toys as gifts, exposed himself without warning, and asked invasive questions about their private lives. If someone pushed back, he humiliated them or froze them out professionally. One of the most chilling allegations dated back to 2001. A former Today producer said Lauer called her to his office, locked the door using that button, and then assaulted her. She claimed she blacked out during the attack and woke up on the floor with her clothes partially removed. His assistant reportedly had to take her to a nurse afterward. Terrified of losing her career, she never filed a complaint. At the time, Lauer was so powerful that few believed anyone would have dared challenge him. By the time NBC fired him in November 2017, the network knew it couldn't protect him anymore. The chairman sent a memo to staff early that morning, making it clear Lauer's actions violated company standards and that they believed it was not an isolated case. His $20 million annual contract was immediately terminated without severance. NBC essentially cut him off overnight, signaling they wanted nothing more to do with him. The Variety report, released the same day, confirmed the scale of his misconduct. It described a workplace where employees lived in fear, many aware of what was happening but too scared to speak. Even more damaging were claims that NBC management had known about his behavior for years but chose to look the other way because of his star power. NBC denied prior knowledge, but the damage was done. The scandal didn't just take Lauer down, it raised questions about how the network itself had failed its employees. NBC quickly introduced new policies, including strict rules against covering up misconduct. But for Lauer, the fallout was swift and permanent. One of the most trusted men in American television became a pariah almost overnight. After his firing, Lauer retreated into isolation. Friends who once spoke to him daily said their calls and texts went unanswered. Invitations stopped. By 2018, he was rarely seen outside his Hamptons estate. The man who had once thrived on constant attention disappeared almost completely from public life.